Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Cool. Yep. Yep. We're doing good.
That's great. So how's Leroy doing this afternoon?
Well, we slept with the AC on last night, and you might be able to hear I have a slight congestion. We don't usually sleep with the AC on.
So what do you think causes that? Getting the humidity too low, or?
I don't know. I just know that almost every time that happens, every time we do this, I kind of sound like I'm sick, but I'm not.
Well, I measured high temp here of 92F. And let me see what it's down to now. 92F was at, actually it was almost 93. 3:30 to 4 o'clock, something like that.
Right.
And right now, let me just run it again. Get the latest and greatest. It is down to 86.54. However, the other half of the story is we just got overcast, and it's obvious that there is a storm coming in because the lightning detector that I've got in the house here on top of the cabinets has been tweeting all afternoon, and we are now fairly well overcast with dark clouds. So
Yep.
I suspect in the next half an hour or so, the sky is going to open up.
I've been listening, and Westchester and South, they've got down trees and all kinds of things going on, so I'm sure it's coming. But
so they had some heavy winds in, I take it.
I'm not sure, but that's what they said. They had a bunch of down trees, so maybe they had a microburst go through.
It's raining here.
Is it raining?
Yep. Maybe not yet, but it's working on it.
It's dark and overcast here, but I don't think it's actually raining.
Yeah.
We're not raining here, but it sure looks like it's trying.
Okay. Yeah.
I can hear it on the baby monitor raining.
Where do you have that? Out on by the birds?
Yeah. I was pointed back in the back window.
Okay.
Outside. Behind the screen.
So you are hearing the thunder?
I heard the thunder too, but the rain, mainly the rain.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I've heard the thunder too, but it hadn't in the last minute or so.
Yeah,
how come we come two meeting presenters there?
One of them's me and one of them's Steve.
Oh, the other me.
The other me.
The other me now.
Hey, Steve, how you doing?
I'm well. I don't know how to make this thing not join as me. In Linux, I've got a little batch file that does it.
It doesn't seem to make much of a difference, other than I don't have to accept you as a person.
Okay.
He's not as pretty as Leroy, but okay.
I'm not. No.
But
yeah.
Who is? Yeah.
Oh, I have an announcement. We discussed this a few weeks ago, but
You got a tattoo.
no.
Wow, that's, can you move it? Can you wiggle that?
No, I'm trying to see how to get the camera to see it.
Is it the
Yeah, let me stand up closer to the camera. It's so, my skin is so
oh yeah, there it is.
Oh.
Can
All right.
almost see it.
that is very strange the way the camera's looking at it.
They finally connected him to the internet.
He's a cyborg now.
Yeah, right. It's
Do your
this
robot move. Show us your robot move, Art.
I have to practice that a little more. That is that's the CGM. It's a Libre Freestyle CGM. So I had it since we came here from California. I got it a couple of weeks before we flew out here. And I'd been procrastinating, and I've gotten very good at that these days. And my daughter and my wife both have been harassing me for weeks to go ahead and try it out. And frankly, it is magnificent. I mean, it gives me a continuous map of my glucose levels. It gives me notifications when it goes below a certain level or goes above a certain level. And it does that with an audio, some kind of a beep beep thing. And I wish I had it for years now, but it's, and installing it doesn't involve any pain. I looked at the needle and I thought, what is that?
What is that? I need more light in here.
Star Wars?
Yeah. Yeah.
Playing cards?
Yep.
Meh.
So at any rate, I'm real happy with it. Mike
Well-
shows up, tell him that I've got it working, but the app is running on the most recent version of Android. So I think his problem was ancient Android.
Yes. I think that I think that was a big problem.
The other thing I discovered, it comes with a scanner, which is a little gizmo about the size of a pack of cigarettes. You swipe over the thing, or you can put the app on your phone. You can't do both. So each time you put on a new one, you have to decide which you want to use it with, whether you want to use it with the handheld scanner or you want to use it with the app on the phone. You can change it each time you put on a new, but once they link up, you know, it's
It only
married.
links with the first thing it sees.
Yeah, it does. And it's marriage for life, so to speak, or 14 days, whichever comes first.
We never had the little dedicated scanner. Marla's got one of those patches. And I'm real curious why. I mean, she scans herself every 6 hours or so, but it seems to be showing highs and lows in between her scans. So it seems to be scanning continuously.
It does, but if you want it to record a specific digital value, you have to scan. Otherwise, it keeps a graph of the values, but it doesn't give you the individual digital values. So since it's new, of course, I'm not waiting every 6 hours. I'm doing it about every 15, 20 minutes. And so I got a lot of readings, and you get those in the form of a spreadsheet, I guess is one way to describe
Yeah.
it. It's a list of digital values.
So are the values in between your scans in that CSV file? I haven't played with hers.
No, that I guess it is a CSV file, but it does not show the in between. In order to have a value in that CSV file, you have to specific scan. Otherwise, it keeps track. But the interesting thing is that it keeps in contact with that handheld gizmo for about 30 feet away. So for example, if I leave it laying in the kitchen and go and take a nap, it continues to watch the values on the sensor. And for example, when it goes low or goes high or whatever, the alarm goes off. So you don't have to have it right beside where you are. You can be 30 feet away.
That's
So
cool.
it now this is the Freestyle Libre 2.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I don't
there's
even know if the one still exists.
the 2 does and the 3 does. But and then there's Dexcom, which is obviously a different protocol. But they're not interchangeable. I mean, they talk to one or the other, but not both. So, and then there's a bunch of others as well. It turns out Kaiser, which is my healthcare plan, issues the Dexcom Libre 2. And an interesting difference between the 2 and the 3 is this thing is about the diameter of a US quarter. Yeah, roughly. A little thicker than a US quarter, but about that diameter. The Libre 3 is about 2/3 of that diameter, so it's a much smaller thing.
That's cool.
So at any rate, I'm busy gathering data, doing the same thing that I always do. Data and data and data. So I'm now trying to figure out how to hack it so I can yeah, you got it right. Trying to hack it so that I can directly download the readings onto my desktop or laptop or whatever. Haven't figured out how to do that yet, but I will eventually, I'm sure.
It's trying to be secure so it doesn't give up health information to just everybody.
Well, yeah, but if I link it, see, the security is it links only to a single device.
Yeah.
But if I linked it somehow or another to my laptop or my desktop or whatever,
It might be
You know.
different. Yeah.
Once I've got it on my workstation, it's just another file. So I'm pretty happy with it. I must say, I'm extremely happy with it. I'm sorry I procrastinated for 2.5 months before I started. I was thinking, I looked at the thing and I thought, boy, that is a big needle. And
It's a very, very flexible needle.
well, it turns out
There's two.
that the needle's very short, and when you snap it in, you've got this little thing you load the sensor into, and then you take it and you just go scrunch against your arm. I didn't feel anything. I expected to be like an injection from an injection from, say, a corpsman, where they've practiced twice on an orange and they're ready to go. Yeah, I didn't even feel as much as I feel when I use this hyper fine needle to inject my insulin, which is I don't know, an 030 or an 031 needle, something like that. And those things, unless you hit a nerve or a vein, they're essentially painless. But I'm really happy with this. I'm fabulously happy with this.
Cool.
What is this?
There's there's my device. You're not the only one that's got a device, Art. This is mine.
Okay, what is the device? I'm trying to figure that out.
Pacemaker.
Yeah, see that? Yeah.
Oh. Yeah,
Yeah.
haven't got one
Luckily,
of
the
those.
battery status is okay.
Yeah.
Just okay. It
Just
doesn't-
okay.
2.95. There you go.
Estimated longevity.
Yeah, 3 hours.
Is,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
is that your estimated longevity, or is that the
They won't tell me which one is which. Yeah.
Yeah, my dad had one of those years ago, back in the 90s and early 2000. And he had one that was misfiring. It wasn't working right. And they flew the tech in to the local hospital, and he had a gizmo that he put on the chest, and it was obviously wireless, and he could adjust the parameters, so he could adjust the timing and all that stuff. And so my dad said, what about this business of not using cell phones and so forth and so on? The guy says, unless you're going to be doing some arc welding, I wouldn't worry about it. So, they're apparently pretty secure.
Well, the thing that he put on the chest also has a big magnet in it. They are physically disconnected from the programmer until there's a very strong magnetic field. It's got a
Okay.
little tiny reed switch in there.
My
dad.
Yeah, my detector looks like a cell phone, and it sits by my bedside.
Yeah. Yeah, you can read from it, but to write, to make changes to the programming, you need to stick like a baby lock magnet on it.
Yeah, I tried to talk about it. It says dependent down there. That means if you turn it off, it's not going to be pretty. And they do this every time I go in. Okay. Lately, I've been okay with it.
So you can read settings from it and so forth and so on?
That they read it automatically, and that's just the last report. About once a week or once a month, they come through and publish a report. I
No,
can't.
but no, this thing that lays by your bed.
Yeah, it's the interface for them.
Oh, so you don't have access to that.
No, I don't have direct access.
Okay. Now, does yours have a built-in defibrillator?
Yes, this one does.
I think most of them do these days. So they are a little on the pricey side.
Yeah. Just replacing the battery, you don't want to know.
Well, to replace the battery, they have to slice you open, don't they?
Yeah.
Did you just get this recently when you had
No,
your?
I got it back in 2013.
Oh, okay. So you
I got
had
an extra. Yeah, I got a turbo. Yeah, a little later. I got additional wire. I got this thing wired. Yeah,
a turbo.
yeah, I got extra wire. They
Okay.
have 3 wire and 4 wires. I think it's a 4 wire. I got that additional wire. It's a feature.
So that implant's in a different spot in your heart.
It's right up here, or right there. It's right there, right beneath my phone. Right
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, the battery's not too bad. They, take you to the operating room and, you know, they keep you awake usually. And uh, it's probably takes them 20 minutes or so and it's over.
So do they actually have to take the pacemaker out of your chest and do that? Or they just snap in something new?
I don't know. All I know, I just wake up and they say, okay, you're out of here.
Oh, they put you under to do this?
Yeah, usually they do. Well, you can't see what's going on anyway. They won't let you look, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
They wouldn't need any anesthesia for that. They just, oh, look at this. Oh, okay, he's good.
Let me give this screwdriver a little twist.
Yeah, I remember the first time, the time they put the pacemaker in. I remember the guy was having trouble. And he's bitching. Said, I need this wire. You guys don't have it in stock. Oh yeah, geez. And yeah, I was awake. I was having a good time.
So
So about once every 8 years, you got to get a battery.
okay. So you've had the same pacemaker all the time, but changed batteries?
Uh, I think originally I may have had something different. They have a rule. There's some rules to protect people. If you come in, I had a heart attack and I was, doctor said I was dead, but I think he exaggerating some. But when they won't
What's
let
he know about that?
yeah, what do
Yeah.
you know about that kind of stuff? Yeah. So they won't let you put a pacemaker in originally in the original unit for it's I guess people were to put too many in because everybody put a pacemaker in. So they wait, and then later on you can put the pacemaker in as a separate surgery. And then I had the 4th wire, so I had to go in for the 4th wire. I think they did the pacemaker and the 4th wire at the same time. So yeah. But it works fine. It did fire one time. And I didn't really know what happened. I just did and I jumped. I didn't know what happened. I figured it out later on. But
Oh,
that,
you
that
mean
was
the
years ago. That was 10 years, 15 years ago, 13 years ago, 10 years ago.
so this is the defibrillator
Yeah.
fired once.
Yeah, it fired once. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think when you originally have it, you're more susceptible. Right after you had the surgery, you're more susceptible. I had to wear this thing for a while externally. It was unpleasant.
This is some kind of a harness you had on, or what?
Yeah, they originally I did till I got the pacemaker put in. I had to wear
Oh,
a harness.
okay.
They it's a issue, the insurance company probably, and you can't put the defibrillator in first thing. They need to see how your heart responds.
So the defibrillator is a separate unit from the pacemaker?
I don't know. I've never seen either of them, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, probably is.
But all I know is they said we're going to put one in, and we need to add a wire, and I don't know if that's a different unit or they are able to take them apart. If you could take them apart, I think Steve would be in both of our units. You know what I'm saying? He can make some adjustments. I think he'd get it to work both ways.
I had my dad's, he was cremated, and they actually took that out of him before they did the cremation,
Oh, yeah.
and they gave it to me. I was like, cool, okay, thank you, I think.
Yeah, what they told me, what the funeral director told me prior to my dad being cremated, he said, we have to take these out because they explode.
Yeah.
And he told some war story about somebody didn't tell him, because in our case, he asked us specifically, and we had to sign a paper that there was a pacemaker or wasn't a pacemaker. But he said that one time they cremated somebody who had a pacemaker and they didn't know it, and it actually blew a hole in the cremation apparatus.
That's
Apparently,
not good.
yeah, apparently it nearly annihilated the technician running the cremation oven. So he said, we're very careful about that now. So
They get special treatment at the airport too. Woohoo!
do they?
Actually, lately, not so much. Before, you couldn't go through the regular thing. You had to go through a separate scanner. But now they put you through the regular scanner.
I was wondering about this CGM sensor, if that was going to be a problem, because I haven't, since I only put it on like less than a week ago, I haven't been through an airport security, so I don't know if they're going to do anything required to do something different because I have a CGM now.
I'm sure they've run across one or two.
Well, the first time I traveled with 200 syringes and bottles of insulin and so forth and so on, I asked the TSA guy, "Are you going to have a problem with this? Because I've got syringes." And I actually got a letter from my PCP, from my doctor, saying that I had all this stuff. And he said, "Nah," I said, "we see these every day." So, as they get used to the various chunks of technology,
I originally got a card with my pacemaker. There's the card here.
yeah, well, you get a card for anything that they put in your body that's foreign. For example, I have lens replacements in my eyes, and I have a card for each of those, and this is because I had cataracts. And I've got a card for each one of those. And so any implant you get a card for, apparently.
That's
And I know my
interesting.
dad had one. He had, by the time he kicked a bucket, he had 6 stents in various arteries and so forth and so on. And he had one for every stent.
They're just documenting turning you into a cyborg.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing.
I did have one thing that was interesting that happens to me regularly because I carry headphones on me all the time. I think those magnets in the headphones, they looked at my arm one time and they said, what's with this arm? And I had nothing. Well, that's where my headphones were till I dumped them in the bucket. I think that they may be able to detect the magnetism left, the residual magnetism from the headphones.
Hmm.
That was my theory that day anyway.
When I was going to auctions a lot, I bought a couple of security gates that basically they're magnetic sensors, and they were extremely sensitive to any kind of material that is even remotely magnetic. And we played around with all kinds of stuff, putting actual magnets in them. That was fun.
Yeah.
But you'd see little dots. They were very, very precise. They would show you almost exactly where it was on your body. So they could get rid of the wands now because the machines are capable of pretty much pinpointing where something might be on your body. So I could see if there was some weird thing with your headphones going on, but I would think you would have to have your headphones next to you, not in the bucket.
So, so you've got your own set of headphones, which you use rather than buying one from the airlines.
I have earphones. I listen to audiobooks, all the time, walking down the hall, walking down through the airport. I have headphones on, but not headphones, earphones, what I think would be the appropriate term.
Well, it just started raining here and it's really coming down. So you said it was raining by you, Jim?
Yeah, I still hear some dripping.
Any
Well,
thunder?
Yeah, I've had the lightning detector going off all afternoon. It's funny, it makes this little tweet tweet sound. And we have so many of those here. I mean, there's one on the dishwasher. There's one on a teapot. There's one if you leave the refrigerator door open for more than, I don't know, a minute or so, it starts tweeting away. So it's always a question of, okay, what was that tweet about?
Oh, yeah.
Boy, it is coming down.
We don't call them tweets anymore. They're now X's.
Oh, yes. Yeah. The interesting story I thought was that rather than paying the guy who owned the trademark, rather than paying him, all of a sudden Elon just walked off with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And gave him an equally impressive X 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, repeating a couple of times.
Yeah.
That's equally impressive.
Wait. So I'm new to this one. I knew that they switched to X. This is
Yeah.
because they couldn't re-register the domain or something?
That's because that's his SpaceX and all the X
He-
stuff that he's into.
He is obsessed with X. His
No.
his first product eons ago, 1,000 years ago in internet terms. Before PayPal, it was X.com. You remember X.com?
No.
And
I do not.
PayPal bought X.com, and that was an Elon Musk thing. So now he's trying to reinvent X.com.
Okay.
He apparently has held on to the domain X.com for however long it's been, 20 years or whatever it's been.
Oh, it's been more than that because PayPal, he was already cashed out of PayPal by 2000.
Yeah. So he's apparently held on to X.com, and he's obsessed with X. Everything is X. So
Yeah, that's his mark. Okay.
Well,
but
it's been pretty good to him, I must say.
so a guy, his name, I don't remember what his name was, but he was the original owner of @X on Twitter. And because his name started with an X or something, that I don't know, his middle name was X or something. But Elon just took that from him. And instead of giving him a decent replacement handle, he gave him X12345, 12345, 12345, and it repeats a bunch of times. It's a ridiculous handle. It's
Too long to go in a tweet?
yeah, not kinda, yes. It's the guy, from what I read, he was fully expecting them to just take it and not really offer him anything for it, because apparently in the service agreement, if they like your handle, they can just take it from you.
Nice.
Yeah. And everybody agrees to that without reading it. So
Well, that's free enterprise for you guys.
so he had said he was fully expecting it to happen. He was surprised that it hadn't happened the day that they announced the rebranding, because he still had the X handle. But yeah, X just came along and said, I'm taking that. And here's your replacement, an equally impressive handle.
They said that they're keeping the symbol for some purposes, the bird symbol for some purposes. So he's not totally dumb.
Well, the reality is there's probably embedded, that image is probably embedded in a jillion different things. So
Oh yeah.
probably has no choice.
The
Well,
last thing I saw was, instead of it being called X, it is now called Twitter X, which I imagine is because he's going to get sued because everybody owns X. So now he can say it's Twitter X, not just
Yeah.
X. So
well, he's been fairly effective at marketing various things.
he I don't know.
I have to say that SpaceX's record has been just out of this world, literally and figuratively. I saw something yesterday on, I think it was Google News, where they said that since the beginning of 2023, SpaceX has done 88% of all launches. That the rest of the launches have been spread across, Blue Horizon and the French outfit that down off South America and the one over by Australia and so forth. But only 12% have not been done by SpaceX. And by the way, they have a SpaceX, they have a Falcon Heavy tonight around midnight. It'll be the 7th Falcon Heavy, I believe.
SpaceX, SpaceX is fairly impressive. They do some kind of off the wall things, but I was watching a video not too long ago about some of the other heavies that had come before it and how they did testing, and SpaceX pretty much does testing the same way some of the other large rockets. They just send them up and see what happens.
I have issues with that particular X. That's the X Windows X.
Oh, really?
Looked like it to me. Though technically the X Window X has some colors in it.
That is.
So that's a trademark.
Yeah. To me it is.
Well, it's
that's the X from Xerox's implementation of X11 version 2.
It's also a what do you call it? It's an extended ASCII X.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. It somebody else had pointed out that he's just reusing an extended ASCII X, and eventually somebody's going to come along and say, hey, you can't use that because they own it.
Well, it depends on what font. If he's pulling that out of the Ubuntu font, that's fine. But yeah, I don't know.
It's close enough to something else that I don't know. I've seen it before.
So it is different. The X11 logo looks like a greater than and less than side by side, but it is different.
Apparently, Facebook owns a trademark, an X trademark that, and I saw a patent lawyer say that there are 900 and some odd patents or trademarks with X or just X in their logo or X as something. So, it's similar.
Yeah.
That is similar.
Yeah, the difference is the wide on Elon's is hollow.
Yeah.
Boy, it's coming down a gully washer here. It is.
Can't tell if it's raining here or not. Be right back.
Here, there's no difficulty telling if it's raining or not.
I don't think it's raining here. It's dark, but I don't think it's raining.
Well, I can hear it hammering on the roof.
Looks like it was. It's not now.
So next week, if everything goes according to plan, we will be back in California.
Sorry. See what the smoke is that week, huh?
Well, we kind of had no choice. Barbara has a medical problem and we've got to get back there and let Kaiser work on it. Oh, Scott, Ray,
Yes,
wonder what time zone is he coming in from? I
he
thought he
is,
was supposed to be traveling this week.
he is probably in Middletown. He's probably going to show us some neat things that he's got in the warehouse.
Ah.
Somebody's got neat stuff in warehouse?
Do what?
Does somebody have neat stuff in warehouse?
You have neat stuff in your warehouse.
I might.
You
I might
might.
have something neat.
I thought you were going to be traveling this week.
Well, plans, things changed.
What did you do, Ray?
I didn't do it on purpose.
Nobody
Did you
does that
see
on
the
purpose.
pictures?
Seen lewd pictures passed around. I don't know.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I was hoping to have a nice long weekend with the family and just kind of chilling out and doing stuff. And yeah, I got to chill out. I got to do stuff.
Yeah,
Wasn't nothing I wanted to do.
looked exciting.
Uh,
Kind of.
is Art still in the dark there? Or
Huh?
Yeah,
He's
Art probably doesn't know what's
probably in the
going on.
dark. Okay, so on Friday evening, I went home and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna chill out with my son. We can watch a movie. And I sat on the couch and kind of like leaned over and like, oh, something hurts. I leaned over and like, oh, something really hurts. I leaned back over and I'm like, yeah, pause the movie. I gotta go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom, squirmed for a little bit, called my wife, and I'm like, come
I'm
home.
dying.
I'm dying. Come home, honey. I hurt. I hurt bad.
Unless they pronounce you dead, it doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
No, they pronounce me dead. No, the doctor said I was dead.
Oh Lord. So I had I thought I had kidney stones, and I had to pee at least one time for me to confirm that it was blood in the urine pretty strong, and that it was absolutely kidney stones. So I was concerned that it might be like a ruptured appendix or gallstone or something crazy like that. But I felt pretty sure it was a kidney stone. And around 8 o'clock, 7:30, we got into the hospital. And you know how normally in the ER you have like the reception window and people are standing there and they're kind of like filling out their paperwork. Well, Carol was standing at the window and I'm squirming around on the tile. Okay.
Were you twerking?
I was twerking on the tile. Okay. Oh my God. The lady was like, this is the first for me. I was like, lady, I don't care what it is, how stupid I look. This stuff hurts. And this cold tile makes it feel a whole lot better. Okay. So I'm gonna
That's
sit
Ray.
here.
I recognize him. That explains it. Yeah.
I'm gonna squirm on the floor or whatever it takes because this hurts really, really bad. And by 10 o'clock, I was back in the emergency care area, and I had gotten a CT scan. They verified, yes, this is a 7 millimeter kidney stone that is lodged in the ureter, which is the tube that goes from the kidney to the bladder. and it was only about an inch out of the kidney stone, or out of the kidney. But it's like a 2 millimeter tubing with a 7 millimeter stone in it. So
Ooh,
Okay.
so no, I'm serious. It's a 2 millimeter tube with a 7 millimeter stone in it. And so they signed me up for all night. I'm sitting there with my little button, and I'm going, morphine, morphine,
give me
morphine,
more.
give me
Yeah.
the morphine button. And around midnight, or 1 o'clock, something like that, it stopped. No more pain. And they're telling me that the stone went from this in the tube, or in the like this, and it went in line with the tube. And so most of the pain went away. And the doctor's like, no, no, sir, the stone is still there. We're gonna get you into surgery. So they starved me for surgery so that I wouldn't choke or aspirate or whatever. And so they starved me, and they had me planned for surgery at 3 o'clock. And 3:30 came, 4 o'clock came, and they're like, oh, there's still 3 people ahead of you to get into the emergency room. So we're just gonna let you go ahead and eat now, and we're gonna put you back on for Sunday morning. You'll be the first person in the ER room.
Woohoo.
So Sunday morning, I had surgery, and they installed a stent. And a stent is like this spiral looking, bidirectional spiral thing that expands naturally, and it helps your little tubing to get larger so that the stone can pass from the kidney to the bladder. But it's never going to come out any further. So the doctor says the next surgery will be to remove the stent and to remove the stone. So
Has
now
that
about
happened?
every hour and a half, I cry and I go pee. And there's nothing I can do about it. But yeah, my kidney and my bladder just have these spasms, um and I do the best I can. But so that's
So
what
have they
happened
done
with
the
my
second
weekend.
surgery? Have they done the second surgery?
No, I have to go in on Monday. So I already had a talk with them on the phone. I'm like, hey, you're gonna show me a mannequin, a dummy, some pictures with, this is where the kidney is at, and this is where the bladder is at, and this is what your stent looks like. And yeah, we're all gonna agree that this is pretty and it's working, and this is how far it's expanded. And then we're all gonna walk over to the emergency room, right? We're gonna do the surgery on Monday, right? And they're like, no, then we get to schedule it. Like, why are we waiting till Monday to schedule time in the ER room? We need to schedule that now, because even if we don't use the ER room, somebody else is going to beg for it. Really, there's no way the ER is going to be empty. They're going to need you to be there. I mean, you guys kicked me out, even though I was in excruciating pain. You're like, oh yeah, he'll go tomorrow. Okay, so why don't we just go ahead and schedule the ER for like Monday afternoon? And they're like, well, it just doesn't work like that. Like, can we get in anywhere else? And instead of walking over from the office to Atrium ER room, like, we can go to Norwood. Bigger chances we can get into Norwood sooner. Like, well, I'm not going to walk to Norwood, but I will happily, my wife and I will meet you there. We'll drive there. So they thought that was funny. But I mean, as much as it hurts, it's nobody's fault. There's nothing I really did to inflict the kidney stone upon myself. It just kind of happened, and that's what they said. It just kind of happens, it's a freak of nature. So then I find out I have a kidney stone, and my next door neighbor Lori, and then their next door neighbor has a kidney stone, and then Lori's son gets a kidney stone, and we all have the symptoms come up to be painful on the same weekend.
Woohoo.
How is this random? And we all live next to each other. There is something environmental or something we all went to the same pool party.
Don't
So-
drink the water in Monroe.
Oh gosh. I'm curious how many more people in Monroe are sick. If it's the water, if it was, something else, or really was it really the other Lori made a dessert, everybody ate it, and now everybody that ate it got kidney stones.
Well, you know what the
Oh.
French say about water?
What's that?
Water is for bathing. You don't drink water. You drink wine,
Drink wine.
you know.
All right, well,
So is there any history of kidney stones in your family?
no, none. I have a big family, and I believe I am the only one with kidney stones. I think my uncle Mike might have had some kidney stones earlier in his life, but I mean, I have 16 uncles and 16 aunts, and I got like 75 cousins. We all got married, and so there's 75 spouses. We all had kids, and that, out of, I mean, gosh, that's 250 or so family members that I can look at as being, 1 or 2 degrees of freedom away from me in 1 or 2 steps, and to look at them and look at their medical histories and say, hey, none of us have Down syndrome. There's only one redhead, which is my daughter's. She's solid red. The other one's just strawberry red. So those are the only 2 redheads that are really in the whole family.
So these
There's
are real redheads or redheads from a bottle?
oh, these are real. My daughters are the redheads. Yeah, they're beautiful. Most people don't want that kind of red. It's orange carrot top looking stuff. So, most people want Kool-Aid red.
Kool-Aid red?
Kool-Aid red, and I don't get it because it's fake. Why would you want to put on something that you absolutely know everybody sees it as being fake? If you're gonna go redhead, do it Irish. Go for the orange. Do the ginger thing, So, all right. I know I kind of come in late. I don't mean to. I feel like every time I jump in here, I'm kind of dominating the conversation. Yes, I do have my big surprise. I do have big toys out in the warehouse. I do expect to be in town next week. I would be happy to show you guys whatever I've got up and running. Right now, I do not have any power on my machines. I have 2 electricians here that are running conduit from my breaker boxes to the disconnect boxes to more stuff. So they're putting in electric. Got a few things to iron out with the factory as far as how to connect things, wire things up to get them all up and working. I kind of expect by next week that I will have another surprise, a Chinese company that's moving to Middletown, Ohio. And I don't know if I told you guys about it. I was at a trade show and I was joking with them about how I love
Yeah, you
Middletown.
told us about it.
Yeah. And then they called and they were like, hey, yeah, show us Middletown, show us Ohio. And they decided, yeah, they're gonna move here. So their
So
schedule was by the end of July. So they should be showing up within days. I mean, any time now could be here. And so I'm going to go ahead and call their office and find out exactly when they're going to be here. But they are laser source specialists, including fiber lasers. So, hey, you see some of my machines. That's awesome.
So do they have a building yet?
Wow.
They are going to rent one of my buildings, I believe, maybe.
Oh, okay.
That
See what we can do
machine's
for 'em.
bigger than my apartment.
Well, what I'm gonna do, I've got my phone here, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and sign in with my phone to show you guys some stuff. You don't mind, I'm sure.
Quick
Well,
Sure.
question. Your regular lasers are 40, 80, 120 watts or so. How many watts are those things?
1500, but they're a different wavelength.
Huh. That's not as high
Because-
as I expected, honestly.
No, they start off really for metal cutting. You can start off as low as 300. It's almost never heard of anymore to hit
Yeah.
300, 600, or 1,000. We pretty much start off at 1,000. I told him I didn't want to start off at the bottom of the range, so I wanted to hit 1,500. The 1,500 is it's a good, starting level. It goes up to 60,000.
Jesus.
So from 1,500, 1,500, you can go up to 60, maybe even as high as 62,000, but it's not very common. Most people, most orders that I've ever heard of are in the 1.5, maybe up to the 5,000 watt level. Okay. But, me looking at all the charts and what it's actually capable of and what I believe, cutting through 16th inch is going to be like butter. Cutting through 1/8 inch is pretty easy. Stainless steel is probably about the easiest thing. Steel being next, and then aluminum probably being one of the hardest, most difficult. Copper and gold probably being really, really, really difficult, but absolutely unheard of. The accuracy, you could cut a key with these lasers. The accuracy and on all the tumblers,
Hmm.
they're freaking amazing. So
Cool beans.
uh, um, I'm gonna log in here. Hope requesting login with. There we are.
There it
Okay.
goes.
Recording in progress.
I'm going to mute your desktop for right now.
Thank you. I just forgot to as I was walking away. Hey, you have to forgive me. It started raining here a couple minutes ago, so we hear it pretty loud outside.
Yeah, it's loud here too.
Yeah. So you can get an idea of how big the machines are. You can see the little machine right here, couple machines over there. We got a machine from Kent State. It was a custom machine 8 years ago, and they caught it on fire, and we get to rebuild it. So you can see a little bit of our work. So here that's the inside of the machine. I know it's dark, but it's crazy. I gotta back up a lot to see it.
So how tall is that, Ray?
What's that?
How tall is that? Is that about 6 feet tall, something like that?
I am 5'8", and it is 1.5 feet taller than me. I have to get on my tippy toes to reach the top.
Okay.
So here, let's see. See if I.
Yeah.
So one
Okay.
machine, I'm reaching up there that high. The other machine,
Almost,
Yeah.
but not quite.
not quite that tall. Okay.
So were these all that were owed to you now?
So here we got our operator computer system display right here. It'll have a keyboard and mouse. Sorry, keyboard and mouse. All the controls go down through the thing there. Got keys on, off, emergency stop. That's the columnator head, autofocus head. This is where it actually brings the laser down into focus, right down at this point. It's got some crazy strong gantry, and the way it has a diagonal gear that goes into the drive rail, and the linear rails, bellows, the steel that'll actually support the metal there. What I was thinking earlier was, how do you clamp it down onto the table? And it doesn't matter because it's not plasma. There is no electricity that's being transferred from the nozzle down to the target material. The target metal, it's receiving laser light. We do not need water. We use air. You can use air or nitrogen, or CO2 or oxygen. So it depends on what you're wanting to do. When we use nitrogen, it actually inhibits, it prevents the cutting ability. And what that means is that we can cut really thin stuff and the laser has to do more work, which means that the laser is cutting a smaller kerf. If I'm cutting through a thicker material, that thicker material, I might need help. So the laser isn't doing as good a job. Maybe it's not as hot as I would want it to be to cut through a half-inch material. So what we do is we add in oxygen, and the oxygen helps the metal to burn. In my case, what I'm going to be doing is I have this rotary screw compressor here, and so the rotary screw compressor is supposed to be able to put out like 135 psi at 14 CFM. So I'm hoping that 14 cubic feet a minute is plenty good. Because that's a hell of a lot of air, in my opinion. That's definitely a lot of air to be coming out of this little bitty nozzle. So again, I think it's really cool to have all this stuff here, and I'm glad I'm able to show it to you guys. I think it's enough to get you interested and be like, wow, hey, that's neat. But let me tell you, having this here and you guys be able to see it, and like, yeah, it's time to go visit.
Yeah.
Yep.
This table is about 52 inches by 60 inches, and I pulled out a 50 inch by, man, it was just over 4 foot by 8 foot piece of wood. Okay, so if I wanted to put a full 4x8 sheet of metal in here, I could cut the front half on this machine, turn it around and cut the back half, or pull it through and cut the back half. But these are the two small machines, and that is the big machine. It makes my toolbox look small. and that's a big toolbox.
You're going to need to get a gantry in there.
Oh, overhead gantry.
Yeah.
Well, when
with a big magnet.
when we planned for where to put these, our initial plan was to have laser machine like in the corner, next laser machine on the 4 feet in between, and then to have another 4 feet in between and have another laser machine on the right. And it did not lend itself very well. So what we decided to do afterward was to put 9 feet between the machines so that we could bring in a special cart. And that cart, they make these carts that basically you can bring in a 4x8 sheet of metal, drive it right up next to the machine and slide it into the machine. Or actually you open this up and this whole thing slides out. It's pretty cool. So
yeah, but if you slide a sheet of steel across those teeth, that is going to be the most god-awful sound.
It's not the greatest sound. But you can see how this machine, we have not really unpacked it. But these other two, we have been unpacking them. We have been, we had to mount the computer stuff on the sides and mount a bunch of stuff, other stuff. We've got exhaust fans that are like twice as big as anything else we've ever had before. They require special cooling systems. So there's a special chiller, and then they've got these special servo-based transformers. Have you guys ever heard of a servo-based transformer?
Mm-mm.
No,
I have never heard of it. I mean, to me, you think of a transformer and it has a primary winding and a secondary winding. These transformers have a servo and a control system feedback in them, so that as the voltage goes up, they can adjust the winding, and then the voltage goes down, they adjust the winding, so the output stays constant at exactly the right voltage. So
it's like a variac.
it is a dynamically controlled servo-based variac. Yes, sir. But a variac only has one transformer in it. One winding,
Yeah,
where this has two windings.
looks like an old Lincoln arc welder. Does it
From what I
physically
heard,
move
yes.
the coils?
I'm not super understanding of it. I had to translate it all from Chinese to English. I used my Google Translate, and I was reading through it, and I was like, "This is actually pretty damn cool." So, here's our itty bitty keyboard,
oh,
and I believe it's supposed to be touchscreen, but I told everybody I'd threaten their lives if they touch that screen. But yeah, we're working on stuff, on my water I lost.
So is the plan to sell these, or the plan is to sell services?
Both. If I'm gonna have one here to show off to everybody, then, and if I'm trying to sell them, then I need to be good at how to use them and good at how to install them and how to repair them. So you cannot get good at something if you've never driven a car. I would not want to buy a car from that person. If they're not a mechanic, I probably wouldn't want to buy used cars from them. I want somebody that is understanding about this equipment to buy it from them, because they're going to be my tech support. They're going to be, how to use it, how to make it work the best kind of thing. So I wanted to buy them, use them to provide some services, and to be able to say, hey, I know how this stuff works. I know how to use it. I know how to service it. I know how to rebuild it. And so far, yes, I'm learning. I mean, it's not that bad. Here you can see we've got this computer is face down, but it's got 3 servo drives right here. Behind it, we got a main contactor, 40 amps, and then a couple 3 breakers, little servo enable, a couple more contactors, fuse, power distribution, ground, some relays, terminal blocks. Down here, that is your motion controller distribution panel. So it has a bunch of relays and transistors. It's where the motion control system is actually built into the computer, and it breaks out into this big board, and the big board really is servo 1, servo 2, servo 3, and so forth. They've done a pretty good job at putting a lot of the components up front. There are still a few components all the way in the back on the bottom, namely the laser light source itself is built into the base in the back. And that is pretty cool. So you guys get a view there. So to me, this is pretty cool. This is not as cool as going to what is it, Lear Robotics up in Dayton. I would love to go to Lear Robotics again, but that was really cool to go for a tour up there. When I get this up and running, I'd be happy to have you guys come in and show you how these things work and to build some stuff and to build some robot frames because that's part of it all, right? So like I was showing you, that's the electronics that go underneath the front of this machine here. For the bigger machine, everything is inside that cabinet right there. So, and for the two smaller machines, we've got these wireless hand pendants and keyboards and such. But here's inside the cabinet. It's pretty cool. There's something I didn't see earlier. These are braking resistors for regenerative braking and big terminal distribution blocks, 4 servos, Y, Y, X, and Z. That's pretty cool. You got a servo on the left, servo on the right, and then so forth. It's still the same parts that we saw in the other cabinet. Your contactors, relays, noise filters, power supply, servo interface, and then you got all your main breaker. These are I believe they're fused. It's not gonna matter if I flip them. Overload breakers because they can turn red when they trip. For water cooling, laser power supply, blower fans, and then this one you actually have to turn it in order to enable it. That's for the servos. This is your main. This actually has fuses built into here. I know that because I used to use these and some other equipment. But all the same parts are down underneath the front on that one. And I just think that there really isn't enough space in this big machine for all these parts. So they've really built all this stuff separate. So yeah, I got to go in here and wire out of the main machine into here. So we'll probably spend part of tomorrow working on the aluminum laser, and then we'll probably work on this one for a while. And while we're working on this, there'll be people installing our 3-phase electric disconnects and outlets and everything. So yeah, it's we got a lot of stuff happening here. I got a lot of stuff going on here. I'm happy for it. This has been years and years in the making. So I'm sure you guys remember me saying, "Hey, I'm gonna have some metal cutting lasers someday."
Yeah.
It's,
Now, these arrived last week.
They arrived Monday of today's Thursday.
You will need a painting room.
They arrived Monday this week. We've been, just hauling butt. My tools. My tools. Oh, Harbor Freight. For you guys that hate Harbor Freight, sorry. There's more Harbor Freight tools. The whole toolbox is from Harbor Freight. I do have some tools from the Factory Direct Tools outlet. It's the Premier Outlet Mall. But I refuse to buy Craftsman and some of the other expensive tools because if you don't over torque them, these tools work great. And
Raised
fine.
tools.
It does. It says raised toolbox because I told the other guys, like, you grab tools out of my toolbox and then I'm missing a socket. I'm gonna be pissed. It's just, it upsets me. I get in here like, okay, I need a deep well metric 10 millimeter, and there's none in there. I'm like, damn it, a 10 millimeter is pretty common, but so here's my set of all 10 millimeter randoms. Well, not random, but So this is a kit that I bought at Tractor Supply, but it's like everything 10 millimeter. 3/8 impact, 1/4 inch impact, swivel 3/8, deep well 3/8, deep well 1/4 inch. Yeah, but every one of these is 10 millimeters. So, but I told him, I was like, if I come out here and I'm working on stuff, there better not be anything missing out of my toolbox. And one of the guys is like, well, just lock your toolbox. Like, well, just keep your fingers out of my toolbox. How hard is that? Is it so tempting to lose your job that you're going to go and steal a screwdriver out of my toolbox? And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, you're on camera. Every time you go and grab the tool or something, you're on camera over there. And he's like, yeah, we are. So, see, closed circuit TV and audio monitoring on premises. There's a camera. We had to clean up back here to try to get a little bit more organized. But yeah, things are moving along. We still have plans to donate laser machines to John 23rd and Bishop Fenwick. But yeah, I mean, aside from that, it's just business as normal. Just working on stuff, and like I said, I'll be happy to show you guys more laser stuff as it is available. But I'm really expecting by Wednesday of next week, all 3 of these machines will be up and running. So, this weekend I have a trade show on Saturday, and then rest on Sunday and Monday. A little bit of work, but yeah, it's just trying to figure out little thing here, little thing there, but we'll get it all. I had at least one of you guys, I believe it was Mr. Steve Jones, that had offered to help me out on Sunday. But if we don't have power, I'm not worried about it. I'd love to have 3-phase power ready by then, but I'm not gonna bully my my contractors. These contractors that I got put in my electric, I use them on a lot of stuff, and I really appreciate the work that they do and the time that they put forth, and they do a good job. And they don't complain when they show up and they're like, oh, you said it was to bring in some 3-phase. I was like, yeah, it's like 5 drops of 3-phase. Oh, that's all. Okay. So it's actually, I think it's 3 3-phase, 1 230, but each of the 3-phase has to have a neutral and a ground, plus the 3 wires for 3-phase. Yeah. So these guys are being good. They're definitely doing exactly what they're supposed to do and helping out. So I appreciate it. Yep. Did you guys have any questions for me? I just keep wandering around and talking more.
We need a painting room.
A painting room?
Yeah,
Painting room.
to paint the metal, the steel.
I show you my painting room.
One spray can.
There you
No,
go.
No. You need an air trap, water trap for the paint.
That
Air-
is the 4
air
foot by
extractor.
8 foot that I took out of the small laser machine. That is a big piece of wood, and I didn't even believe that wood was that big. It was huge.
Mhm.
So I agree with you that I need a painting area and a metal prep area. I need it's called a
finishing
time
room.
saver.
Finishing, okay.
The time saver is it's meant to put the metal in one side and it takes all the burrs off of the metal. Yes, I'd love to have one of those. We're gonna have to have a table that, at least for now, we're gonna have to have a table that we can put the metal on and run orbital sanders over it just to take off the burrs.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to show what I've been working on, Ray. I'm going to unpin you.
thank you, sir. We're good.
Great, thank you, Ray.
Because hello.
Hello?
Hello. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See, the amplitude is much better, and I'm just talking more or less normal.
Yeah.
I've
Awesome.
changed the analog resolution to 10-bit instead of 12-bit. And that seems to work a lot better.
Yeah,
Um,
very nice.
so yeah. I'm still waiting on some parts. I got my Adafruit order today, but it didn't have. I'm still waiting on a couple of other parts from China that are actually in. They're in the States. They just haven't gotten here yet. So kind of been stuck. But meanwhile, I worked on the trying to get the waveform a little better. And Ray's still over there doing stuff.
Yeah.
Amateur radio stuff.
Oh yeah, man, it's all amateur radio. I put the schematics of a D104, the spec drawing, and
Oh, that's
the
cool.
electrical schematic on the side of it.
That
So,
is cool.
some people are into D104s, and so you got a little technical drawing of it, and then you also get the schematic for how it works. And I thought it was pretty cool. Okay, I can't see it anymore, but I put the radio on there, all the Morse code, amateur radio operator, a whole bunch of goofy stuff about amateur radio operators, and a special Yagi antenna, and some goofy stuff that only a few people will really pick up on here. A working QR code, rated G language while transmitting, tilt over antenna, 73, 1500 watts max, 99% male, 100% cranky. Yeah.
That's me.
Well, the whole hobby is like 99% male, but we're definitely cranky. Caution, old ham radio guy intends to avoid warranty. I thought that really fits. Something I hid in here that my daughter will hopefully she'll pick up. On 430 megahertz, we have a net every Tuesday that we meet and talk about stuff. And it says alert, single YL on net. So single young lady on network. And so my daughter is that single young lady. And I just thought, okay, she'll get it eventually. She'll pick it up. But these are the ones that we're going to go down to Winchester on Saturday, show these off to see what people think. And I believe the D104 will be a hit for some people. The Space Cowboy, that'll be a hit for some people. This one shows the HT Handy Talkie.
A Bofang.
Yes, a lot of people don't realize it, but yeah, that's a Bofang.
That's a Bofang.
I didn't want to use an SDR or like an R finder because they're too much screen based. I wanted something that actually had physical buttons, just to show that it really looks like a ham radio HT. But it says I always want my HT radio in my hand, but I still need coffee, and so that's kind of funny. Yeah, we're doing other little stuff, but
You're
back
always
to Leroy. What
you're
made
always
you
doing
think
stuff.
What made you think bringing your DAC down to 10 bits would change the amplitude, the view, the amplitude?
Because the ESP32, its 12-bit, its default 12-bit resolution is not good, and 10-bit works better. And I figure, what the heck, it doesn't cost anything to try it, so I tried it and it worked.
Cool.
So
Very cool.
this was my other thing where, if you remember last week, right at the end of the meeting, I said I was getting ready to install SDR Angel, and I don't have a video or anything, and I can't show how it works live because I only have one USB port. So it takes a minute to get it set up. But once it's set up, it decodes packet. There's the packet decoding that it can do. It decodes, what is this one? Pager, which I will admit it gets the pager wrong a lot, but it decoded my actual real page. It decoded just fine. There's some more pages that it actually decoded correctly. It will decode DMR and D-Star and a couple of other digital modes. It takes a while to get it set up, though. It's not intuitive. It's not an intuitive program. But once you get it set up, it works. It just works. So that is my report on SDR Angel. If you're going to want to use DMR or D-Star, you have to install a separate program and you have to run it from the terminal. That is really its only real funny little quirk about it. Otherwise, it's a good program. That SDR will.
I didn't realize you guys are still here. All good. All good.
That one, I figured out it will actually drop down to just under the 500 kilohertz that it claims, but it won't receive anything on the antenna. You need a really long wire to get it to receive correctly. That one was the $43 SDR with the antenna, with a bunch of the antennas, and it is a real, not fake, a real genuine RTL SDR. And you can tell because it's got the code sticker and the FCC label on the back side.
And that's the V3 version.
That's the V3 version. It's in a rounded case and it's got Can't see it. But the mounting screws are diagonal from each other, not together. This green one is a clone, but it doesn't claim to, it actually does not claim to be a RTL SDR. So it claims to be exactly what it is. It's just a really crappy clone of, it's got a screw that's actually coming out that has wiggled its way out of the case. And the board doesn't even fit in the case well. You can't see it. See how I could push on it and it's moving the
USB connector.
moving the USB connector. But this one works too, and it doesn't claim to go down to anything below 24 megahertz or 25 megahertz, but I've gotten it to go down to 23 something. So it seems to work just fine. And you know, it doesn't claim to be a real RTL thing, but it doesn't matter, it works. It also was significantly cheaper. So, you know, if you're price shopping. Of course, the genuine one just works better overall. And neither one of these two get anywhere near as hot as my original silver one. So I was reading on the RTL SDR forum that there was 1 to 2% of the original models that had bad resistors, and that caused them to heat up significantly. So I'm guessing I got one of the ones that had bad resistors. One of the 1 or 2% of them that was bad. They claim that this new model has fixed that problem, and they won't. It gets warm, but it doesn't heat up to the point where you can't touch it. So this one's the
It gets
same
that
way.
hot. That's a truly excellent resistor then.
Yeah. This one's the same. It gets warm, but it's not hot enough to make a big difference. The silver one that I've got, it gets hot. It gets, sometimes it gets really hot, like to the point where I have to turn it off, unplug it, and let it sit for a half hour before I could even take it out of its low mount. So so yeah, I'm probably going to end up replacing this silver one, the original, with this on the laptop on the old OP25 setup that I've got, because this is generic enough that it works, but it doesn't get hot. And speaking of OP25,
Is this link I put in the chat?
what's in the chat?
I found a link to Amazon. I don't know if it's your device.
Okay, I'll look here in a second. This is on my main laptop that's running OP25. I finally figure out how to get it to go out to the website, and then I modified the website so it just displays just what I want. Otherwise, it displays all kinds of stuff that I don't really care about. So if you watch it, you'll see a talk group pop up and a group name and whatever, and that's all I care about. And the frequency will change. Like Franklin PD.
Freaky police.
So, okay, what we got going on with Amazon? That would be the same one without all the antennas.
I'll have to go count screws on mine. I'm pretty sure mine is not one of the real ones.
So the biggest way to tell if it's real or not is they're all in curved cases. This is a straight flat case. There's no curves to it. These are in curved cases and the screws are diagonal.
Okay.
If the screws are straight, it's a fake. If there's 4 screws in it, it's a fake.
So what constitute a fake versus real?
Well,
They made
it's-
by another company and basically a clone?
it's a clone. And some of the fakes are bad. I mean, just bad clones. I put a link to the one that I bought with all the antennas if you want. It's $10 more for the antennas. Some of the it's like this one. This one's not bad, but the build quality sucks. I mean, one of the screws didn't even get put in right. It's already popping out. And they didn't put, there's no nut on the connector. And if you look at the original, there's a nut and a washer to help hold it in place. And like I said, that's not a bad SDR. It works. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. It's just, if you're going to spend $30 or $33 on that, you might as well get this one for $33. It's the real deal. And drops down into HF a bit. So that's my PSA for the they claim basically there are some clones that are like this, but they actually say RTL SDR. And if they say RTL SDR, they are fake 100%. They're just trying to build on the name of the real thing. If that makes sense. Why is that upside down? Neat. Okay. The original the original silver one I had, they show on the RTL website what a fake silver one looks like. And what their current silver ones look like. And it's kind of interesting. It's how close the scammers are trying to get. So slightly curved enclosure. The website's on the thing. They've got the quality control stickers. The newer units have a slightly different marking. The newer silver units have a label on both sides, the front and the back. And the black ones have the FCC logo on them. But if you look at the fake ones, see, it looks very similar, at least on the front side, but it's got 4 screws. That one's in a completely different package. It's called and they call it a Pro, which they don't make anything called a Pro. And then these new fake ones are even in a curved case and have the washer and the nut, but the screws are wrong. So I'm guessing that the fake ones don't perform anywhere close to, and even though they claim that they would go to into HF, they won't. The fake ones won't. The fake ones won't do it. So it's probably better just to make sure you get a real one. So, that's all I know. I don't know nothing else.
I think we lost Ray.
Ray's probably off doing something.
I think you went in the bathroom there for a little bit.
Very, very busy.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah,
was.
sorry guys. I had to go to the bathroom and I was a little embarrassed. I didn't need you guys hearing me.
What was all the screaming?
That was it. You didn't need to hear me screaming. So I put it on mute and I turned off the video. So I'm back out and I just felt like, hey, Leroy's doing his show and I wanted to let him do that.
So are
you
you
know.
okay, Ray?
I'm all right. There's 2 guys here. If I would have been hurting really, really bad, I would have yelled for one of them to help me. But I'm okay. Yeah. No, seriously, about every hour and a half, 2 hours, it's like my bladder gets a certain amount of whatever in it, and the back pressure goes to the kidney stone and causes my kidney to spasm, and it hurts. It hurts a lot. So I should be taking it easy, but I love this stuff so much.
Yeah, we know who you are.
Yeah, you really should be taking it easy, but
Yeah, definitely so.
All good, guys. Thank you.
my crazy eyes are watching you, Ray.
Yeah, I bet.
That's pretty neat.
Finally, you know how to move them?
Yes. Yes. And even though I didn't have all the right stuff, mainly this sensor's a 3-volt sensor. And of course, these are 5-volt, but the stick C is 3-volt. So
Okay.
I was playing around with it to see what kind of numbers it gives me. It's going to work. It's just I got to get. I've got to get.
You were waiting for a level translator, right?
I'm waiting for a couple of cables from China.
Yeah.
And Adafruit. I just got 5-volt to 3-volt level shifts.
Okay.
That were specifically designed for the quick the quick setup.
Okay.
So these were only $3. I was like, wow. So I probably should have ordered all of it from Adafruit had I known, but that's what happens. Because I did order a couple of little quick cables, from Adafruit, and they were only 99 cents.
Okay,
So
good price.
yeah, I thought that's about half of what SparkFun wanted for the same cable, and on par with what I paid for from China. So had I known, of course, Adafruit doesn't sell the quick to Grove connector. They only sell quick to quick.
Okay,
So
and Sparkphone does.
SparkFun sells the quick to Grove connector,
Uh-huh.
but I think they were $6 or
Okay,
something like that. They
They
were,
they don't like Grove.
yeah, they were insanely priced at SparkFun, and I was like, I am not paying that for a couple pieces of wire. So I found them on AliExpress for $1.99 or 99 cents or something. I don't know. I don't know what I paid for them, but they're in the States. They should be here soon, according to AliExpress. They should be here before the 7th, which is still too long, but they are here in the States. So I went ahead and modified the code for the uncanny eyes to work with the camera, and I think it's going to work. But while I was trying the code for that, I decided to go ahead and let it generate random numbers. That's how the eyes are doing
Okay. That looks
random
like-
stuff. Kind of like, oh, that's so cool. And then when they disappear altogether, that's when it's actually blinking or
Okay.
winking or whatever.
They blink at the same time, but
Yeah. Actually, you can make them wink. There's a way to make the left one wink or the right one wink. I don't know if I'm going to go into all that, but I definitely think I can make them follow your
the
face.
camera. Okay.
Yeah. And other than that, that's really all I did.
Great.
So I think this project's coming together though.
Nice. This project. Okay. You need to connect an AI intelligence to this.
I know I haven't decided what I want. I was thinking about hooking up the old EMIC speech synthesizer to it.
Okay.
But I don't know what I want to do with it yet. Or how I want to. I just haven't decided that yet. I think it's progressing along pretty nice, so.
Yeah.
And I think changing the analog resolution really made a huge difference. Uh-oh. Ah.
I have nothing to show. I was traveling. I was in Chicago last 3 days.
Mm.
What's going on in Chicago?
Some paperwork and some good food. Very hot. This afternoon was a heavy rain here around, like a storm. This is live, Jim.
Oh, no, that's from this morning, 6:22.
Okay. I can see the sun in the background.
Patty came in a few minutes ago and opened the back door. So I'm guessing it started to cool off outside.
Okay.
But
Yeah, once the storm went through here, it dropped like, I don't know, 15 degrees or more.
it my little temperature thing still says it's 82 out though. And Google, the desktop app says it's 90. So I don't know if it just hasn't updated or if it's really is that hot out.
Well, real time here now is 70.7, and an hour ago, a little over an hour ago, it was 85, and earlier it was 92. So it's dropped over 20 degrees in maybe 2.5 hours, something like that. But it dropped precipitously after the
rain.
storm came through.
See, I don't know if we ever actually got rain.
Oh, we got it here. I could barely hear.
I didn't hear it. Of course, I've got the headphones on, but I took them off a couple of times and I still didn't hear it. So we're winding up to 7 o'clock. So
next week is in person.
we're at the library next week, right, Jim?
Yes.
All right.
Yay.
Great.
So I hopefully will see everybody at the library.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. I'll be in
Bye,
California.
everyone.
Oh, you will be in California.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
So
Left Coast kid.
well, we will see you virtually.
Okay.
Well, if things go well, I'll be happy to invite everybody over. Would you guys want to have a meeting here? Like in 2 weeks from now?
I think we're on the schedule for the library for next week and the following week. So maybe we could do something.
I'll talk to my boss and see when I'm allowed to bring people. Okay.
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 Maybe in 3 weeks or something. We could do the virtual meetings from live from Ray's virtuosity.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Okay.
I will see everybody next week. Hopefully.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.